Hello viewers, I am Mr. Dilip Kumar Pal invites my viewers to a very significant topic of the Indian Constitution, which is powers of High Court. As you know it very well, that in the Indian judicial system we have an integrated judicial system. At the top of the Indian judicial system we have the Supreme Court, which is in New Delhi. Just below the Supreme Court we have the High Court. High Court in our country is in the middle of the hierarchical structure of Indian judicial system. And today's video relates or it glances over the powers of a High Court. What powers High Courts in India possess, or what powers High Courts of India have. So, before we discuss what powers High Courts have, we must know first of all a few lines about the High Court. According to Professor Bryce, there is no better test of excellence of a government than its judicial system. It means a government is known, or the test of government is known from its judicial system. It means judicial system is a very important organ of a government. And if judiciary system will not be found, the situation of the country will be same when in the darkness the lamp will vanish, or the food without salt. So judiciary is a very important organ of a government. And in the Indian judicial system, High Court is at the middle. So High Court is a very important institution of Indian judicial system. So now the question is, what powers High Courts have? The most important power of the High Court is its original jurisdiction. High Court has original jurisdiction. Its original jurisdiction means there are some powers which the High Court has only possesses. So original jurisdiction means there are certain powers which only the High Court has. And High Court has mainly two original powers. The first original power of the High Court is the power to issue writs under Article 2 to 6 of the Indian Constitution. Under Article 2 to 6 of the Indian Constitution, High Court has the power to issue writs for the enforcement of fundamental rights mentioned in Part 3 of the Constitution. And under Article 2 to 6, High Court has the power to issue 5 writs like habeas corpus, mandamus, quo warranto, certiorari and prohibition. It has the power to issue 5 writs for the enforcement of fundamental rights. The first writ is the habeas corpus. Habeas corpus is a Latin word. It means you may have the body. It means whenever a person is detained illegally, he can approach the High Court for help. Then the High Court has the power to issue habeas corpus, means it has the power to order the authority to bring that person before it, so that it will examine whether that person has been detained on any legal ground or illegal ground. If the High Court will feel that that person has been detained on any illegal ground, the High Court will order the authority to release him. Number 2, another type of writ is mandamus. Mandamus is also a Latin term. It means we order. It means whenever a person, in spite of his eligibility, will not get a document from the government, if he will approach to the High Court, the High Court will issue the writ known as mandamus. By means of mandamus, it can order the authority to take appropriate measures. For example, a person, in spite of his eligibility to get a license, he is not given license. If he will approach to the High Court, in this context, High Court will order the authority to perform its duty because it is its duty. Okay, my viewers. Number 3, another writ is quo warranto. Quo warranto is also a Latin term. It means by what authority? By means of this right, the High Court will preserve a government post from being snatched. It means, for example, for a government post, the eligibility will be 21 years. But a person is appointed in spite his age is 18 years. So in this context, that person is not eligible. So in this context, if the High Court will be approached to protect the government post, then High Court will issue quo warranto. By means of this writ, the High Court will preserve the government post from being snatched illegally. Okay, my viewers, very good. Now 4, certiorari. Certiorari is another writ. It is a writ by means of which High Court will order the lower courts not to use excess power, and by means of this writ, the High Court has the power to withdraw a case from the lower court. And the last one is prohibition. Sometimes lower courts are exercising those powers which do not belong to them. If High Court will know about this, then High Court will issue the writ known as prohibition. By means of this writ, High Court will order the lower courts to remain within their limit. So these are the power of writs, the power of issuing writs of the High Court, mentioned in Article 2 to 6 of the Indian Constitution. Then High Court has also original power in the field of divorce, then signing of will, admiralty, and contempt of court. So High Court has also the original power in the field of divorce cases, in the field of signing will cases, in the field of matrimony, marriage related matters, and it has also original power in the field of contempt of court matters. If any person will show disrespect to the order of the High Court, then High Court can use its original power. So this is the most important power of the High Court, which is known as the original power. The second important power of the High Court is the appellate power. It means High Court is the highest court of appeal in the state. And just below the High Court, there are civil courts and criminal courts. So if any person is not satisfied with the verdict or judgment of the lower courts, he can move to the High Court. So far as the civil cases are concerned, just below the High Court we have the district court, just below the district court is the subordinate court, just below the subordinate court is the additional subordinate court. In the same way, Just below the additional subordinate court, we have the Munship court. So any person who is not satisfied with the verdict of these civil courts, he can go to the High Court. Again, so far as criminal cases are concerned, we have in the district level sessions courts, just below is additional sessions court. So far as criminal cases are concerned, if any person is not satisfied with the verdict of these criminal courts, that person can move to the High Court. Okay, so as the High Court is the highest court of appeal in the country, so any person who is not satisfied with the lower courts, he can move to the High Court. Okay, viewers, so we have completed second important part of the High Court. The third important part of the High Court is the power of superintendence, which is mentioned by Article 2 to 7 of the Indian Constitution. According to Article 2 to 7 of the Indian Constitution, or 227 of the Indian Constitution, High Court is the highest court of appeal in the state. So, if the High Court is the highest court of appeal in the state, just below the High Court, there are lower courts. So, High Court has the power to watch the activities of lower courts. It inspects the work of the lower courts. It may prescribe rules for the lower courts. It is the power to provide them forms by which they will maintain their accounts. So High Court has the power to superintendence. High Court has the power to watch the activities of the lower courts and take necessary steps. So this is the third important part of the High Court. And the fourth important part of the High Court is the power to transfer cases from the lower courts under Article 2 to 8. Under Article 2 to 8, High Court has the power to transfer cases from the lower court. As the High Court is the highest court of the state, the High Court watches the activities of the lower courts. And if the High Court will feel that a particular case which is pending in the lower court is important court, High Court can withdraw the case from the lower court and disposes it or solves it. The second alternative is that if the High Court will feel that in a particular court, lower court, there is an important case, the High Court will withdraw the case and return the case to the lower court from which it has withdrawn with a copy of judgment. And the lower court will dispose the case on the basis of the way in which High Court has solved it. So High Court has the power to transfer cases from the lower courts. And the fifth one is power of High Court over staff appointment, dismissal and promotion under Article 2 to 9. Under Article 2 to 9 of the Indian Constitution, High Court has the full power over its staffs. High Court, the Chief Justice of the High Court has the power to give appointments to the staff of the High Court. He has the power to give them promotion, and High Court has the power to dismiss any staff of the High Court. So all these activities of the High Court are performed by the Chief Justice of the High Court or by any officer or judge who is authorized by the Chief Justice of the High Court. To make it more clear, under Article 2 to 9, the Chief Justice of the High Court has the power to give appointments, he has the power to give promotion, he has the power to dismiss any staff of the High Court. So Chief Justice of the High Court has the power to give appointment, to give promotion, to dismiss. He can perform all these activities, or he may authorize any judge, senior most judge, or he has the power to authorize any officer of the High Court to perform this work. Okay, my viewers. Then the last part of the High Court, he has some High Court has some other powers too. So what other power High Court has? Number one, High Court is the court of record. Under Article 215, High Court is the court of record. What High Court will decide, it is binding to the lower courts. What decision High Court will say, all the lower courts will have to give it respect. Number two, judicial review power. If the state government will take any action, or if the state legislature will make any law which goes against the constitution, High Court has the power to reject that law of the legislature or decree of the executive. So High Court has also judicial power. Number two. Number three, power to transfer cases from one court to another. High Court has the power to transfer a case from one court to another. This is another important power of the High Court. Okay, my viewers? And the fourth one is power to transfer district judge. Whenever the governor of the state will think to transfer a district court from one court to another, from one district to another district, he can do it after consulting the High Court. The governor of the state may transfer a district judge from one district to another by consulting with the High Court. Then ask record from lower courts. High Court has the power to ask any type of record from any lower courts. Okay? Then power of certification. If any person wants to go to Supreme Court against the decision of the High Court has the power to give him certificate. If High Court will give certificate to any person to go to the Supreme Court, then that person can go to Supreme Court. It is known as the power of High Court to certification. Last one is control lower courts. Then High Court has the power to control all the lower courts within the state. So, in this video we have discussed, my viewers, some important powers of the High Court. Number one is power of the High Court to issue writs, and power of the High Court to issue power in the field of divorce, signing of will, matrimonial cases, and contempt of court cases. We have included these powers in the original part of the edition. Number two, High Court is the appellate power. At the highest court of appeal in the state, it hears against the decision of the lower court. Then power of superintendence, it inspects lower courts, it supervises the lower courts. Fourth one is power to transfer cases from the lower courts. Then the fifth one is High Court has the power to give appointment, to give promotion and dismiss its staffs. Then in the last one, or other powers, we have included as many as 7 powers of the High Court. So, I think this video will be very much useful to those students who are very sensitive to their academic life. So, my viewers, I have full confidence that this video will be useful to students of all levels, including plus 3, plus 2, and those students who are engaged in competitive examinations. Thank you, viewers. Again, we will be here with another important video. Till now, goodbye to all. Thank you.